Um, Hello, I'm gonna start this tutorial first by saying this might not be the best way to do it, but it's workable, I think. So let's get started. I just created a blank project. I mean the game template with the gameplay kit. Mm, like when you do file, new project, and you say game include integrate gameplay kit. So now we will start by making um, deleting all the stuff that we don't need on the template. So we get rid of this, um, all the things that are used for the demo. We eliminate. We don't need this. We don't need this either. All the touches we don't need in here. We will do it on a component later on. And this is fine. We get the spinning and on the game controller everything's fine. So let's start by making a new file. We're gonna call this player control component. Uh, Touch control input node. Yeah, touch control input node sounds fine. Created Spritekit class touch control input node. It's going to be basically what we want to do is have a transparent node that will be handling all the events on the screen, because if we handle the events on the buttons, the moment that you press a button and then you drag your finger outside of the button, it stops grabbing the events. So we need one big like, if you imagine it like one big controller, and we handle all the inputs from there. So that's basically what we're going to do. This case sprite no. Also, before we do that, no, let's continue and then we'll do the other part. So what we're going to do is, for this part, is going to be very tedious. Oh, before we grab that, we need to add all the icons. I already have some, like all the buttons. You can grab yours from your application. They don't need to be transparent because we're going to add the transparency with code. So in order to do that, we created two variables for the alpha. Press float. It's going to be 0.5. And then the way we will handle it is we're going to create an array that will have all the preset buttons in it, so that we have a way to know if one button is pressed, and then if your finger moves outside of it, or outside of the button, you know, if it was already placed, you can remove it from the press buttons, and if you drag your finger onto a button, then you can press that instead. So now it's going to be a tedious part of typing all the buttons that we're going to use. We're gonna use 8 buttons in total. Because we're going to grab 2 joysticks, or I mean the 2 sides of the gamepad or whatever. So I think I'm going to copy all the rest of this, so you don't have to watch me type all of it. So okay, so now that we have that done, we will create the the rectangle on the size of the screen, right? So we will initialize this sprite node. We won't have a texture. The color will be transparent. And the size will be the size of the frame that will send when we create this thing. And then we need the requiring it, so let's do that. So now we will set up the controls. Now we will create a method to add all the buttons first. So Here we put the C position um, higher than what you want all your stuff, uh, so that it's the first one that gets the action, right? So now that we have that out of the way, we will create another function to add all the buttons. This is gonna be tedious again, so I'm just gonna write the first one and then copy the rest. We will name this setup controls. And we'll just use the function that we just created to add all the buttons we created on top, right? Let's make some space here, and we just call the add button. We will do the first one. The position. This is okay. I'm gonna explain this. We will make the. I'm just gonna type it and then we'll check it. So it's going to be negative. The size. The size we received on the method. That's going to be the size of the screen that we received from the init method. So we're going to add the first button, the one in the direction up. The X is going to be to the left side of the screen, so that's why we um, put it on a negative, and then we will divide this by 3. And for the Y, we will just grab the size dot height, divide that by 4, and then add 50 pixels, or I don't know what the name is going to call up. Yeah, and the scale is going to be 2.0. This is because some images I have smaller than others, right? So just that before we add all the code, we're going to calculate all the rest of the buttons, right? So for the left and right arrows, it's going to be basically this CG point with the X and the Y. The X is going to be negative, the same, like size dot width divided by 3. But now we're going to be since the left button is more to the left, so we're going to subtract that 50, and for the Y we're going to it's again, it's on the lower part of the screen, so it's going to be negative size dot height divided by 4 again, but this time we won't be adding the 50 that we added on the first one, right? So it's going to be basically 50 up for the up sign, I mean the up arrow, no no modifier for the height on the left and right arrows, and then we're going to subtract 50 for the down one arrow, and it's going to be the same for the rest of the buttons. So let me show you what I mean by that. So it's basically this, like I say, minus 50 again for the left, and then for the right we'll add 50. For the direction down we subtract 50, and the same for the other buttons, right? It's basically the same, but without the negative signs for the X. So we're just going to be on the right position of the screen. So once we have that, we can just on the init method, I mean in this one, we say setup controls, and we just send the frame size. And now we have all the buttons added to this sprite node. And one important thing to receive all the interaction is to have this method. I mean this variable or whatever is user interaction enabled to. So now we will handle all the events, right? We need to do the touches began, touches moved, and touches ended, and touches cancelled, right? So let's do that. No, by the way, we need a way to send all the messages that we get from the buttons, since we will be sending the name, but basically it's going to be like if you press the button, you will get the message that you press the left button. If you remove your finger from the left button, it's going to be it's going to say cancel left or stop left, right? So a way we can do this is if we do a protocol and a delegate. So I'm going to create a protocol real quick. It's going to be called control input delegate. So let's create that. This I don't think we need anything, so it's going to be called the protocol control input delegate, and it will only have one method. It's going to be follow a command. It's going to come from a string. So we now want to have our touch control input node to have one variable that's going to be the control input delegate, right? So we're gonna call it input delegate is going to be of type control input delegate. So that's going to allow us to send whichever delegate we assign it here is going to receive the the, the messages that we send. So let's start with the touchdown. Touches began. Touches began. So we're going to cycle through all the touches. We're going to get the location from the touch, and we're going to get it from the parent node. In this case, we will get it from the camera. Since this is method we will be calling. I mean, this component will be adding it to the camera, so that when the screen moves, I mean, with the level or the scene moves, your controls stay with you. So now we're going to cycle through all the buttons for all 8 buttons. We will be doing this another cycle, right? For button A, button 0, button, button near, button down, button to the right, button A, B, button X, and okay, we're going to check if we already have that button on the list. So, and if it's if the button that's been pressed, so it's, let's say, if button dot contains location and it's not on the list, so if this is a new press, so we will then add it to the list. Then we will check if the input delegate that we just created over there is different from new. Now we can just if input delegate, and then we check, we say input delegate dot follow, and we will say the button dot name. So we will send the input delegate this the name of the button. Okay, so now if the if this is a new press again, we will say we'll change the alpha. So button dot alpha is going to be alpha unpressed. If this is a button, I mean, if we add it to the list, then it's going to be in the list. So it's going to be pressed, right? And if not, we will say alpha is going to be unpressed. Now we will go to the touches mode. This is going to be a little bit more elaborate. So we'll start again with the loop. We will now get two variables. We will get the location and we will get the previous location. Now we will copy this cycle again because we will do and so we need to understand this part. So if I get off my the button, so let's type if I get off the button where I was before. So that means if button contains previous location and it doesn't contain the new location. Then we will see if it's already in the list. So now we remove it from the list if it's in the list. Now we will do the sending the message again. So if input delete is not nil, then we send the message. But this time, since we're canceling the button, we will type cancel and then we will send the So we will send the suppose it's X, so the message will be cancel X. Okay, so now if else, if now we're moving to a like we pressed somewhere else on the screen and we're dragging it to a new button. So if it doesn't if the button doesn't contain the previous location and the button now contains the new location, and if it's not already, I mean if it's not already on the list, so because if it's already in the list then we do nothing. So we add it to the list. And we send the message to the delegate. So I think here we can. And now we do the same thing that we did here. So we check if it's not in the list. I mean, if it's in the list, we change the alpha to pressed, and if it's not, we remove. I mean, we change the transparency to the other one. Now, for the other two, we're going to use like one method, and since it's going to be basically the same, the touches ended and touches cancelled, it's going to be basically the same. So we're going to write one method and now we will do basically the same thing we did before. We will check if it's pressed, then we remove it from the list and we send the message to the delegate. Now we copy the cycle that we did here. Spanish keyword. So now we check if the boot the location on this event, either ended or cancelled, is in either the previous or the new location. It's in the button, and we will remove it from the list. So location or now we check if it's on the list of buttons. If it's not on the list, then we do nothing, but if it's on the list, we will remove it. Next. Then we will send the message to the input element. In this case, we will send a message telling it to stop the command. And then we will do the same thing with the alphas. And we're done with this component. Now we will, the way I'm going to do it is add it to a component, so that we add it on the scene to your player. So we're going to name this new file. It's going to be player control component. And this is we will add Spritekit and gameplay kit. So it's going to be the class player control component. It's going to be a gameplay kit component, and it's going to be the control input delegate. Now it's going to complain that we don't have the follow method, so we're going to fix that. So what we need here, we need the control input, the touch control input node. So we're going to create a new variable. Let touch control node. It's going to be the type touch control input node. Now we're going to create a function to set up the controls. This function is going to be called from the scene. So since we need the camera and the scene to for the size and for the camera, so that we can add it to the controls to it. So the controls, I'm going to need the camera. Okay, camera node and the scene. Okay, scene. We're going to create the new instance of touch input control node with the frame. It's going to be scene dot frame. We're going to set the delegate to be this class. This is a var, not this is a variable, not a constant, so that's why it's complete. And we're going to set the position of this node to be 0, so that it's centered in the camera. And now we're going to add it to the camera. And for the follow command, for now on this video we're going to just print it. But don't worry, we will. It's going to be easier for you to read this command because it's coming from a component. I will show you how to do it in a second. First, we're going to make sure this all works. Hopefully, it works. I'm going to receive the message. The message, and now that we have this, we set it so that it doesn't. We just want the landscape modes, and on the game scene we will add a color sprite on the center. We will name it player, and we will add a camera. And we will name this camera, and we will set the camera for the scene to be this camera. And then we will say to the scene that we're going to be plus landscape mode. Now on the scene, we're going to check the sprite we just added in the move to view. We're going to search for the child that's called the player. So let's say let the player equal child node with name, player, and we're going to check the, since a lot of the gameplay kit stuff lets you grab the entities and the components you add to the scene and check for them in here. So let's see if we have that component in this sprite. So if let what's it called, player control component equal the player. Since we add the gameplay kit, if we hear a little pause here, if we check the game view controller, we can see that all the entities, graphs are loaded in the scenes because this is a gameplay kit scene, and it's adding the game scene instead of I mean the SK scene instead of just being on SK scene. So in the game scene, we check if the entities that we have on the entity that is assigned to the player, we check if it has added the player control component type of component, and so we now call the method that we added the set component that setup controls. The camera node, we know it's the camera, we didn't add it here. Oh yeah, we the variable is already there. So camera, and the scene is just self. And now on the game scene, we select our sprite, we add the component. We add the player control component, and this should work. Let's see if it works. Now we have it. The components, so it's not checking for that, so we will see what happened, what went wrong. I found the error. I forgot to add the method here, so just touch up, touches, and event. The same here, touch up, touches, and event. So now if we run it again, we'll see that everything's working fine. If we press it and then we let it go, it says stop. If we drag our finger outside the area, then it cancels it. The same here. So you can do combos or stuff like that in your game or whatever. So I hope that was useful. I plan to do more of this. If you like it, let me know. So see you again. Oh, and I will be answering questions if you have them in the comments. Bye.